Why would anyone want to propagate zinnias when they're so easy to start from seed? Well, I'm going to share a few reasons why you might want to. And I'm going to show you an easy way to do it. First, let's cut to the chase and start propagating some zinnias. The first thing you want to look for are plants that have several nodes of leaves. I like to look for ones that have at least 2 to 3 nodes. That means like 2 to 3 layers of leaves. So see, there's this bottom layer of leaves that's already starting to branch out. There's that middle layer, and then there's the top layer on the crown. This is the perfect size plant for this. Now you're going to want to make your cut 2 nodes below the top crown. So you want to make sure that you've got your crown, a set of leaves, and then there's a bottom set of leaves still left on the plant. So you're going to cut right between the bottom set of leaves and the next set of leaves. Then you're going to trim up those bottom leaves. We don't need those because we're going to use that node for roots, because that's where all of your roots are going to come out of. That's where all the hormone is. So that's where we want the plant to root. And I like to leave my top set of leaves. Some people will cut them or trim them back, but for this plant, it's got a nice sturdy stem. It should do perfectly fine keeping those top leaves. So the only leaves that I'm going to trim are the second set. And truly, if you look at the top crown, there's actually 2 more sets of leaves, and then possibly even some tinier leaves right in the very center of the crown. This size is perfect though. This stem there's enough vascular tissue in this stem for this to root and be able to support the leaves that are left. And I just like doing this. It makes the plant look nice once it's grown up a little bit. Now I'm putting my cuttings into some coconut coir. It's a sterilized potting mix from Burpees. I like this mix. You always want to use a sterilized soil when you're propagating because you don't want to introduce any bacteria, because we don't want these plants to rot. So we want to make sure that they have their best chance. So really any type of seed starting mix is going to be sterilized and perfect for this. I do recommend using coconut coir. Even if you can't find the Burpee Organics coconut coir, you can get coconut coir on Amazon. I'll make sure to post a link down below. I do like the Burpees brand though because it is organic and it has plant food in it, so it's perfect for when the plants root out and start to grow. You could also just remove the bottom leaves by tearing them off instead of cutting them off. Just make sure you're not damaging the node or squishing that stem too much. We don't want to damage any of the vascular tissue in the plant. These are going to take about 2 weeks before they start to root. I like to keep mine in their pots for at least 3 weeks before I plant them out into the ground. Now, of course, you can always seed start zinnias and they're going to come up in that amount of time, but when you propagate them, you get mature plants. And the only reason I propagate is when I have a zinnia plant that's a rare color or for breeding purposes. So if you have a rare color zinnia that you really love but you don't have any more seeds for that color, you could propagate them and get twice as many plants or 3 times as many plants, because you can propagate from one plant several times as it branches out. Also, something I forgot to mention earlier is you want to pick a plant that is not flowering yet or doesn't have buds yet. Now I'm just sticking my plants in a Rubbermaid. That's going to help trap all the humidity in here for the first week or 2. Make sure to check your plants often to make sure there's no funky smells or rotting going on. This is just the very next day and they're not even wilted. And then now here they are several weeks later and we're going to see how they've rooted. And they're even budding out, which is a very good sign. These are telltale signs that these are ready to plant out. They're much taller, they've grown quite a bit, and they're starting to flower. And ideally, I don't want them to flower in these tiny little pots because there's not enough soil in there to keep this plant growing well. So we need to get these in the ground ASAP so they can grow a lot bigger than this. And you'll notice that there was a little too much humidity on one of these, so there was too much moisture on the leaves and it kind of started to shrivel. But here are some that I planted into some clear pots so that I can see when they've rooted out well enough to be planted. I'll make sure to link these pots down below as well because they're perfect for propagating. Now let's check out the roots and see how these are doing. Well, you can see they're rooted in pretty well. They're not root bound or anything like that. These can go in the ground now, or you can keep them in the pots a little bit longer if you need to. Just make sure you give them some kind of plant food. And then also you have to harden these off like you would seedlings. I hope you guys try propagating some of your own zinnias, especially your rare colors that you've bred yourself. I'd like to show you guys a little slideshow of some of the flowers that I've bred over the past few years that I just seed save from every single year. And every year there's a new color, and it's like a little present in the beginning of the summer. So I really like propagating and seed saving and breeding unique colors. But the colors that I'm really focusing on this year and next year are really peachy pastels and a very, very light lavender and light pink. Those are really desirable colors with zinnias, and they're just not available in stores. So that's why I like to breed and propagate my own zinnias, so I can get all of the colors that I want. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll make sure to add a link to a zinnia playlist in the description below, and also, again, the links to the clear pots that you could propagate in, as well as the coconut coir.